As the cherry blossoms in Seoul began to bloom in the spring of 2022, I found my spirit reviving from a long winter. I was emerging from the painful remnants of my past, becoming increasingly involved in the art of cocktail creation and carving my identity as a solo mixologist. The newly sprouted hues of pink and white petals lifting their faces to the sky as if to embrace life mirrored my augmented zeal to fully embrace my life. My heart was ready to bloom again, much like the cherry blossoms. A new face entered my regular bar clientele, Minho, a fellow mixologist with an infectious interest for his craft. His charm and humor were refreshing, adding a new vibrant color to my yet painting incomplete canvas. In him, I saw a reflection of my own passion, and that stirred a new sprout of connection. Our shared interest in spirits and flavors led to countless enriching conversations, which often overflowed to evenings spent beyond just serving and mixing drinks. From dissecting the flavor profiles of rare bourbons to discussing the nuances of locally produced soju, we volleyed conversations back and forth with ease. Complemented by our mutual command of Chinese, Korean, and French, our exchanging thoughts felt seamless, inviting a bond beyond just the countertop. As spring gave way to summer, our bond deepened into a relationship, adding a new rhythm to my solo beats. Every shared laughter, every exchanged smile, and every mutual understanding felt like perfectly mixed sours and bitters in a cocktail, forming a harmonious blend. Minho was like a breath of spring air, awakening my dormant heart with his warmth and passion. Suddenly, the superficial buzz of the crowd seemed quieter. The usually long hours at work felt shorter, and the lonely soul nights felt more inviting. It was a transformation akin to a cocktail. Two distinct spirits, when blended right, could create something beautifully balanced and truly magical. With him, I didn't just share my passion for mixology, but the thrill of being in love. Suddenly, I was no longer just Evelyn, the solo mixologist. I was Evelyn in love, the mixologist with a blossoming romance. Sharing professional interests with Minho was exhilarating, as each conversation seemed to illuminate unexplored paths in the world of mixology. Engaging in spirited debates about the finer points of spirits and flavors, creating and refining cocktails, were all imbued with greater joy when shared with him. The borders between work and personal life began to blur as our relationship deepened. Yet the duality of our connection, both professional and romantic, made the complex blend even more alluring. From experimenting with rare bourbons to challenging each other to create the most innovative soju cocktail, our companionship filled my life with an enriching exchange of ideas and affection. The spontaneity and charm echoed our banter at the bar, effortlessly transitioning between languages, often dissolving into shared laughter. We would lose ourselves in the kaleidoscope of aromas and flavors, creating a boundless playground for our shared passion. I soon realized that my relationship with Minho was indeed becoming a cocktail of its own kind, featuring a blend of shared dreams, common passions, laughter, comfort, and warmth. This concoction was as heady and exhilarating as any high spirit, adding an unexpected flavor to the cocktail of my life. It felt like a perfectly shaken cocktail that had found its equilibrium, the sweetness of love harmoniously meshed with the bitters of the professional challenges we faced. With each passing day, our bond deepened, as did the complexity of our shared cocktail. The emotions that brewed within me were not merely for a lover, but for a companion who understood my deepest desires and fears, a rarity in the competitive world of mixology. Minho was not just an addition to the cocktail of my life. He was an essential ingredient that balanced the flavors and intensified the spirit of it. With his addition, the cocktail of Evelyn the bartender was now complete with a garnishing of love. For the first time, my solo journey felt like a duet. My solo beats now had a harmony, and my single-layered persona now had a depth. Life was no longer just about serving drinks, but more about the joy of sharing, the comfort of mutual understanding, and the thrill of being in love. As the months slipped by, Minho and I found ourselves increasingly consumed by our shared obsession, the art of mixology. Our bond deepened, ironically, within the dimly lit spaces of my workplace, the speakeasy. The bar counter, adorned with exotic spirits and liqueurs, served as our canvas for experimentation. Dark evenings gave way to early mornings, marked by the rhythmic clinking of glassware and punctuated by our shared bursts of laughter echoing through the bar. We were partners in the truest sense, shifting seamlessly between roles. One moment we were business associates analyzing a newly discovered bourbon, and the next, a couple engrossed in vivid repartee. We relished the thrill of the challenge, creating innovative cocktails that would pique the interest of our customers, always looking for ways to push the boundaries. On numerous occasions, I found myself mesmerized by the elegant dance of Minho's hands as he mixed, shook, and poured the spirits, each movement meticulously calculated to create a cocktail that was nothing short of art in a glass. Despite my neuroticism, the confidence and calmness Minho exuded allowed us to navigate the pressure of the industry and still maintain the playfulness that defined our relationship. In him, I discovered more than just a companion or a lover. He was a mirror, reflecting the desires and ambitions that resided in me, often unseen. We were bound not only by our love for each other, but by the mutual respect and understanding we had for each other's dreams. Minho, however, was more than just an accomplice in my adventures in mixology. His presence added a new dimension to my already complex life. Despite the jovial camaraderie, there often hung in the air an unspoken anticipation of our future. It was in his eyes as he watched me pore over potential business plans late into the night, in the quiet whispers of our shared dreams as our heads hit the pillow, and in the simple gesture of his fingers tracing the edges of a carefully crafted cocktail glass. Sharing this journey with Minho was an adventure in itself, equally thrilling, equally unpredictable. It was summer in Seoul, and something inside me started stirring with an intensity I hadn't felt before, an intense desire to carve a niche for myself in this vibrant city, in this intoxicating world of mixology. Even as Minho and I poured our efforts into our shared passion, my mind began to wander towards the enticing prospects of having my own cocktail bar. Perhaps it was the heartening success of my concoctions, or the increasing recognition I was receiving in Seoul's nightlife, or maybe both. But I found my childhood dream resurface with a newfound vigor. I would often find myself sketching out layouts for my dream cocktail bar, or fiddling with menu designs during quiet moments at work, or when sleep eluded me. The more I thought about it, the more tangible it felt, as though I could almost touch it. It occupied most of my conversations with Minho, and he graciously lent an ear, sharing his insights and encouraging my dream. His unwavering support further fueled my desire. The energy in me was palpable, and it reflected in my work. I found myself creating cocktails with an even greater enthusiasm, not just for my patrons, but as a peek into my future bar. The dream started to intertwine with my days and nights, taking the form of blueprints spread across my desk, scribbled cocktail recipes, and an ever-growing Pinterest board of bar inspirations. Juggling my ever-increasing responsibilities at the speakeasy alongside my exciting plans was challenging, but every effort felt rewarding, as if I was inching closer to my dream with every cocktail I served, every plan I laid out. There was no rush, though. I was confident in the process, savoring the journey as much as the destination. Yes, my dream started to take a definite form, and I relished every bit of it, with the bright lights of Seoul City as my muse. With every passing day, the enormity of my dream turned into detailed plans. Detailed blueprints began filling up my small apartment in Seoul, encompassing everything I had ever visualized for my cocktail bar. From the vintage chic interiors to the bespoke cocktail menu inspired by my journey in the world of mixology. My days grew longer, the outlines and sketches of my dream consuming my free time past work hours. I felt an indefatigable energy radiating inside me, but time seemed to be flying faster than usual. Each evening, I arrived home late from my bar shift only to sit down at my worn-out wooden desk, indulging in fantasies of serving under my own label. Post-its were strewn across my well-lit workspace, carrying scribbled notes of unique cocktail recipes, special orders, and even potential names for my future establishment. I continued pouring love into my work, seeing every cocktail as a small step towards my own cocktail bar. When mixing drinks for customers, I envisioned them sitting at my bar, sipping those very same cocktails. Conversations with regular patrons often ended up centered around my dream, their excited faces and encouraging words bolstering me further. My nights were illuminated with the glow of my laptop as I reworked budgets, sourced potential locations, and planned future marketing strategies. The more I deepened my research, the more captivated I became, craving the exhilaration and challenges that came with entrepreneurship. I began to approach my days with an entrepreneur's mindset, observing the operations of the speakeasy bar with keen interest, learning the skills necessary to run and manage a business successfully. The feeling of my dream crystallizing into concrete plans was exhilarating. The thought of my cocktail creations, which began as mere experimental indulgences, slowly becoming something considerable in the Seoul cocktail scene, was both humbling and motivating. And as the sketches of my dream cocktail bar took shape, my heart warmed with the recognition that I was no longer just musing about a distant possibility, but actively and wholeheartedly working towards my dream. Minho and I were no longer a couple by the start of 2023, but this change in my personal life did not deter my professional plans. While Minho and I shared the world of mixology, we had different destinations plotted on our life maps. Both our dreams pulled us in different directions, and thus we agreed to go on our individual journeys of growth. It's funny how life operates by its own rules, making and breaking patterns as it deems fit. Before Minho, I had taken my life's important steps alone, whether it was moving to Seoul at the age of 14 or my academic pursuit to Paris. After some contemplation, I realized that it was perhaps the universe's way of setting me back on the right track, telling me to stay focused on my own journey. Yet the support I had from Minho during our time together can't be discounted. Together, we discovered new flavors, experimented with unique combinations, and I must admit I grew immensely as a mixologist. Now it was time to translate this knowledge and experience into progress towards my personal goal, a place where everyone would come to sip on stories poured into a glass, my very own cocktail bar. While personal emotions often create a barrier, I decided to rise above them and not let love lost be the love lost for my dream. Every time my heart wavered, I motivated myself by creating a new cocktail, each one a new page in this chapter of resilience, mirroring the mix of my emotions, much like the blend of flavors within. Yes, I had lost love, but in the greater scheme of life, we were two ships passing in the night, helping light each other's path but with inexorable separate destinations. Transforming my emotional fragments into a driving force, I reassured myself, saying, "Evelyn, your journey, with or without a co-pilot, must go on." And just like the perfect cocktail, I was set to strike a balance between flavors and emotions, creating a harmonious symphony, sweet in success and bitter in sacrifice. Propel me with loss, I thought to myself. The breakup with Minho was simply another ingredient in my cocktail of life, adding to its overall depth and complexity. In my solitary journey towards my dream, I started seeing myself as a dedicated artist working on a masterpiece, my cocktail bar. With every day that passed, I would sit in the quiet hours of the early morning at the speakeasy, visualizing the ambience of my bar. Cardamom would fill the air as the warm glow of minimalistic lights and lingering whispers of patrons lost in conversation would paint an inviting picture. My bar would become a sanctuary of stories, encased within glasses brimming over with carefully crafted drinks. I found myself consumed by this vision, be it while seamlessly shaking a martini, presenting a cosmopolitan to a guest, or while unwinding behind the bar counter after the last customer took leave. Each day, I felt a step closer towards the realization of my ambition, towards a moment when people would come in for a glass of Evelyn's soul-stirringly mixed drinks. I imagined standing behind my bar counter, music softly playing in the background, and my hands expertly moving as I mixed, chilled, stirred, poured, transforming simple spirits into a medley of flavors. Greeting patrons with a smile, I'd slide uniquely concocted drinks across the counter towards them, silently inviting them to be a part of my unfolding journey. The heartache of parting ways with Minho and the subsequent solitude consequently added more layers to the plan of my cocktail bar. Each heartache, each memory, and each day served as rivets and bolts shaping its foundation. The contours of my dream were no longer hazy. They started resonating in consonance with the clinks of the glasses and the ice cubes hitting the crystal as I crafted another memory in liquid form. Balancing the heady mix of bittersweet emotions of my breakup, the anxiety of a daunting yet exciting future, and the anticipation of the unknown, I felt an adrenaline rush, somewhat similar to the feeling before the announcement of the mixology contest winners. It was a mix of thrilling uncertainty and the joy of creation, a thrill that ran across every pour, every shake, and every mix I presented to my patrons. Life indeed was filling the mixologist in me with an assortment of emotions, and I was ready to craft them into the finest cocktails ever served. Surmounting the odds, I knew I had the strength to pursue my dreams of growing in the mixology realm and establishing my cocktail bar, one spirit at a time.